Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Several moon wells, and most importantly, 8 new defense towers. Over the past 3 days, Wu Qi had gathered enough resources and upgraded some necessary buildings. For example, after the palace reaches level 5, it will have 100 rooms. He also spent some void crystals trying his luck with the red mansion every day, but the results weren't great. Knowing he had to use his void crystals wisely, he stopped indulging and refocused, and today, he arrived at the Moon Palace. P.S. Please favorite and support as the book will be on sale soon. Chapter 62, Lady of Xuanhuan, Heart of the Bright Moon, April 4th. Please favorite. The importance of resources is undeniable. Wu Qi didn't waste anything, using every point strategically. His battles over the last 3 days had been pretty successful, burning him tens of thousands of void crystals and void source stones. He used these resources to upgrade structures and build new defense towers and living quarters, step by step, and today. Day 14 at 9 a.m. Wu Qi arrived at the Moon Palace. Upgrade. Wu Qi upgraded the Moon Palace to level 5 in one go. Then, he recruited another 50 immortal cultivators from the Moon Palace immediately. Void source stones, 5,000. Void crystals, 50,000. In the morning, the endless void was still dark. The doors of the luxurious palace, built with white jade and emerald steps, opened. One by one, pretty girls emerged, slender, pure, and lovely. They wore white maiden dresses, with belts tightly around their waists, accentuating their figures. Their hair was styled in buns, adorned with ribbons. Beneath their soft hair, innocent and beautiful faces were filled with curiosity. They looked around, then glanced sideways, finally focusing on Wu Qi. Smiling, they trotted over and surrounded him. Exalted Immortal. Exalted Immortal. The girls' voices were soft, each unique, but mostly lively and pleasant. Wu Qi looked at the group and felt his heart skip a beat. The air was filled with youthful energy, a delicate fragrance, and a pure, awe-inspiring aura. Even enhanced photos from his past life couldn't compare to this. These were truly natural beauties. Unlike the disciplined warriors of Great Qin, these little fairies were cultivators. They weren't as stoic and wouldn't train as neatly. They were very active, chattering, telling Wu Qi their names and asking strange questions. Shangxian, I'm Lu Xiaoyan. Shangxian, is this the fairy world? Shangxian, did I die and come here? Is this the underworld? I'm not dead. I just woke up like this. Did you use magic to move me here? Superior Immortal. Will you take me as a disciple? Xianxian wants to learn powerful immortal techniques and serve you. Shangxian, you smell so good. The girls were mostly between 5 feet 3 inches and 5 feet 7 inches, they were slender, not plump, but blooming like flowers, with exceptional looks and even more extraordinary personalities. The only thing Wu Qi found challenging was their energy and curiosity. For a moment, he missed the military precision of Great Qin's warriors. Okay. Quiet, Wu Qi said sternly. The girls immediately fell silent, looking at him with wide, admiring eyes. Don't argue, I'll talk to you all later. Wu Qi coughed. The girls nodded, covering their mouths, looking incredibly cute. Wu Qi couldn't help but smile, opened their attribute panels, and upgraded them to level 5 in one breath. Level 1 Level 2. Void Source Stones, 50. Level 2 Level 3. Void Source Stones, 100. Level 3 Level 4. Void Source Stones, 150. Level 4 Level 5. Void Source Stones, 200. Their attributes naturally increase significantly as well. The Immortal Cultivators of Moon Palace, Level 5, 0/500, Quality, Purple, Talent, Heart of the Moon +1. Bloodline, Xuanhuan Palace Made +1. Physique, 50, Base 5, Multiplier 1000%. Spirit, 270, Base 27, Multiplier 1000%, Skills, Xingli Seal, Level 5, Angry Moon Seal, Level 5, Binding Immortal Seal, Level 5, Introduction, new to Moon Palace, these fairies are cute and beautiful, so be gentle. Heart of the Bright Moon +1. Talent quality, purple, level, 5. Attributes, gain Moon Palace Immortal Magic, which increases with level, unlocked, Shengli Seal, Angry Moon Seal, Binding Immortal Seal. Introduction, there's no shortcut to cultivation. It's better to let your lord work hard. You get stronger just by relaxing. Xuanhuan Palace Maid +1. Talent quality, purple, level, 5. Attribute, cast moon spells twice. Introduction, rumored to be the reincarnation of a palace maid of the Lord of Taiyin, P.S., please favorite. Chapter 63, For the King, I am willing to die. 1/4. Please favorite. Life Seal. Level, 5. Attribute, give teammates the Life Seal for +10 physical and +5% damage, duration, 60 minutes. Introduction, Bright Moon Seal, bright as the moon. Wrath Moon Seal. Level, 5. Attribute, release a beam of angry moonlight to deal 50 plus spirit x 5% damage. Introduction, the anger of the moon, hot as fire. Binding Immortal Seal. Level, 5. Attribute, condense moonlight into ropes to bind the enemy, duration, 60 seconds. Introduction, tie them up and beat them. The fairies' attributes were undoubtedly impressive, even though they were just cultivators, they already had considerable fighting power after taking their first steps on the path to immortality. Their high spirit and complete set of moon seals made them powerful turrets, offering output, control, and support. Chapter 52. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. It's insane. Seriously, these girls might be small and delicate, cute as buttons, but they're packing some serious heat under those petite frames. Forget about the magic they can sling with 270 mental attribute points, even with a measly 50 physical attribute points, they could mop the floor with Wu Qi. They're more agile and have a flashier skill set than the Great Qin warriors, but let's be real, in a straight-up brawl, the Great Qin warriors would stomp them. I'm talking about a scenario where hundreds of powerful monster mages were raining down spells, the Great Qin warriors just rolled up in formation, they shattered the spell barrage, skewered the enemy with their halberds, and left the battlefield looking like a yard sale. This isn't some video game, data is tied to the rules, but it's just one kind of rule. Battle power. It's not just about stats and skills. That's why the Great Qin warriors earned the title unrivaled in the world fair and square. Alright, everyone, Wu Qi grinned, waving his hand. Let's get you geared up. Yes, the girls beamed, trailing after Wu Qi, their eyes wide with curiosity as they took in the new world. Some of them, the two girls right beside Wu Qi, were even clutching at his clothes, a hint of innocent confusion on their sweet faces, total dorks, as they passed the Hall of Valor, wouldn't you know it, a Great Qin warrior was stepping out, fresh from resurrection. She took a deep breath, a flicker of lingering fear in her eyes, then, she spotted Wu Qi approaching and snapped to attention, saluting with a fist to her chest. Your Majesty. At ease, Wu Qi nodded, smiling. How are you holding up? All good. This particular Great Qin warrior had caught a stray during a boss fight on the 14th day, 4 casualties in total, and Wu Qi had resurrected them one by one. She was the last one back. With the Hall of Valor around, every hero and soldier's soul is protected and can be brought back for the right price in resources and time. There is great terror between life and death. But I will not be afraid. For the king, I am willing to die without regrets. The towering beauty stood tall, her curves outlined by the tight black uniform. It was definitely eye-catching, but the real draw was the words she spoke, and the steely-eyed killer vibe she gave off. I won't let you leave me. Wu Qi smiled, the beauty looked surprised, then smiled back, nodding. I believe in the king. Alright, get back out there. The fight's not over. Wu Qi nodded, she didn't waste any time, gave another crisp salute, and marched off. From start to finish, she didn't even glance at the girls. Seeing this ice queen, the girls were buzzing with curiosity, chattering and peppering him with questions. The sweet, melodic voices were soothing and yet a little overwhelming. He could only try to explain things as they walked. Soon enough, They arrived at the item refining workshop, and Wu Qi pulled up the stat panel for a look. Sure enough, there was a brand new set of standard gear up for grabs. Military equipment, Qin sword, Qin halberd, Qin crossbow, Qin armor, Moon Palace outfit, Moon Palace hairpin, Moon Palace mirror, Moon Palace belt. P.S. Hit that collect button, people. 2 days until it goes live. Chapter 64, Moon Set. A lucky gift. 2/4. Collect now. Time to level up the item refining workshop. In 3 days, Wu Qi had scraped together a decent pile of resources. Not much point in hoarding them. Better to spend them to get stronger. He thought for a moment, then boosted the weapon refining workshop straight to level 5 and got cracking on forging the fairy's personal military threads. Moon Palace outfit. Quality, purple, type, military exclusive, level 5. Stats, stain resistant, moisturizing, body armor. Description, beautiful and elegant clothing. Stays clean and offers some basic protection. Moon Palace hairpin. Quality, purple, type, military exclusive, level 5. Stats, flight, penetration, miniaturization. Description, one-hit kills from 100 yards. Moon Palace mirror. Quality, purple, type, military exclusive, level 5. Stats, illusion breaker, suppressant, nourishment. Description, perfect for smashing illusions and suppressing demons and ghosts. Moon Palace belt. Quality, purple, type, military equipment, level 5. Stats, body nourishment, chi nourishment, restraint. Description, strengthens the body and sharpens the mind. Just like the Qin Rui Shi's 4-piece set, the 4-piece set of Mingyue Palace also has 3 characteristics, but there are also differences. Moon Palace gear leans more toward health and wellness, it doesn't directly boost protection or combat ability. But makes sense, cultivating immortals are all about living forever, while Qin soldiers live for the battlefield. Different priorities, each piece cost 50 crystals, so a full set was 200. Wu Qi started handing out the gear to the girls. 50 fairies, 10,000 void crystals down the drain in one go. The refinement workshop started to rumble, the human-shaped statues glowing. Before long, freshly forged gear was rolling out. Wu Qi passed it out, piece by piece. The girls were even happier after getting their new toys, giggling and fawning over the gear. Once everyone was equipped, he let out a sigh of relief and grinned. Alright, you little dynamos, ready for a fight? The immortal is too kind. He. I'll give it my all. Watch me, immortal. For the immortal, I fear nothing. The girls responded cheerfully. Chapter 53. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Holding a fancy mirror, with jade belts cinched at their waists, and decked out in beautiful palace clothes, they looked like little princesses as they stepped out. Only, they had this otherworldly vibe that the little princess look just couldn't capture. The only problem was, hairpins weren't really working with their hairstyles, so, some girls started letting their hair down, gathering it up, and securing it with a hairpin. Others just stuck the hairpin on top of their buns, which looked kind of goofy. They need some practice, Wu Qi thought, watching the girls buzzing around. Then, he called out and led them over to the stone wall to go over the key points of defending. The girls were quick learners. Before long, they were all lined up, their little faces serious, clutching their precious mirrors. Wu Qi smiled, then turned to the great Qin warriors and took them to upgrade their gear. After that, he sent everyone back to their defensive positions. Alright, all set. Wu Qi took a deep breath, stretched, and headed back to the Huxing pavilion. Qin Keqing was sipping tea. When she saw Wu Qi, she quickly poured him a cup and asked softly, Master, are you tired? Yeah, a bit. Wu Qi shook his head, smiling. Hey, come check this out. He pulled out the red package. Found it in a treasure chest. Gift of destiny, quality, none. Description, a gift from fate. Could contain anything from a pen to an entire world. This kind of thing was pretty well known. Back on Earth, Wu Qi had heard people talking about it, read about it online. Even teachers had mentioned these mystery packages and gifts of fate. Sounds good, right? But, It's usually a rip-off. When you open a gift of destiny, you get different choices, different levels, different options, like this one Wuqi had. Ding! You've unlocked the gift of destiny. Please choose the gift level. 1. Costs 0 void crystals. High chance of junk, low chance of rare items. 2. Costs 1000 void crystals. High chance of common items, low chance of rare items. 3. Costs 10,000 void crystals. Very low chance of common items, low chance of rare items, high chance of uncommon items. P.S. Please add to your library. If all goes well, it'll be up for sale tomorrow night after midnight. Chapter 65, 6 Ding Thunder Control. The thunder is coming. 3/4. Please add to your library. Legend has it that in the endless void, gods have fallen and immortals have left their legacies. The fates of countless worlds intertwine, creating miracles. World wonders, for example, are legacies linking worlds. Immortals and gods often leave relics in the endless void. Someone once found a kingdom of God, someone else discovered the corpse of a fairy, someone even stumbled upon a blood sea divine lake. But with all those opportunities come tons of dangers. Someone ran into a wild beast that shattered their territory with a single swipe, someone else was swarmed by gold-eating bugs and nearly got devoured, another person encountered time freeze and lost 100 years of life with one breath. Most lords who ventured into the endless void found trouble. Only a few got lucky, the gift of destiny, also known as Fate's Tease. It's a relic formed by the power of the immortal gods. The package itself is a kind of spatial treasure. Inside, anything can exist. It could be a sacred mountain or a small world. Or it could be just a rock or a scrap of cloth. Back in Kamigawa High School, Wuqi learned that the gift of destiny is shrouded in void power. To open it, you have to use void crystals to clear away the void energy. Different grades require different amounts of energy to wash away. The more void crystals you use, the stronger the scouring power and the higher the chance of getting something good. Best to just crack this thing open. The odds of getting anything good are way too low. Wuqi hesitated for a few days, then decided to gamble. Sir, which level should I choose? Qin Keqing asked, her beautiful face showing a hint of curiosity as she held the red package. Wuqi said firmly, the 10,000 crystal one. That he pulled out 10,000 crystals and dumped them into the pavilion, nearly creating a hill. Qin Keqing didn't hesitate. She carefully opened the package. Instantly, the 10,000 void crystals turned into streams of light, pouring into the package and furiously washing away the void power. After a while, the light faded, and the package popped open. Inside was a book with a question mark on the cover. Could be a skill book, Wuqi thought immediately, his eyes lighting up. Mysterious skill book, description, seems to be a spell lost from some fairy realm. Could be a minor technique, or it could be the key to immortality. Only learning it will reveal the true nature of the skill. Again. Keqing, learn it. Wuqi ordered. Qin Keqing nodded and opened the book. In an instant, the skill book turned into a stream of light and flowed into her body. Wuqi quickly checked her stats. Qin Keqing. Stats omitted. Skills, Frost Breath, Level 5, 6 Ding Thunder Control, Level 1. 6 Ding Thunder Control. Skill Quality, Purple Excellent, Skill Level, 1, 0/200, Attribute, 6 Dings control the thunder, answering my call. Continuously summons thunder to attack opponents, dealing 50 plus Spirit X, 10%/20%/30%/40%/50%/200%, damage. Description, thunder is coming. Not bad. Wuqi breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Keqing blinked, her white, delicate hands reaching out. A spark of purple lightning crackled at her fingertips. She turned the thunder into a ball, then a little snake, then a deer, clearly getting the hang of it fast. Wuqi smiled and just went ahead and boosted 6 Ding Thunder Control to level 5. He'd been upgrading Lin Daiyu and Qin Keqing's skills over the past few days, making them a lot stronger. Plus, the 3 bosses had each contributed a piece of golden equipment. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They're rocking level 12 Dragon Blood rings, which boost physical strength and have a Dragon Blood power enchantment for a little extra damage. Lin Daiyu got those. Then there's the level 13 Earth Armor, a super tough suit of plate mail. That went to Lin Daiyu, too. Last up is the level 14 Stars Necklace, which bumps up spiritual stats and has a Star's Blessing enchantment to speed up spell casting. Qin Kaching's wearing that one. Levels, skills, gear, soldiers, defensive structures, everything is way better than when we started. After today, we're leveling up to 6, that Wu Qi was feeling pretty good about things, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Speak of the devil. Boom, a huge noise came from outside. Wu Qi spun around to see a fight breaking out over by the wall. The defense towers were going wild, spitting fire, machine gun rounds, and lightning everywhere. The monster invasion is super late today, that Wu Qi decided to see what the girls could do, so he waved and headed toward the wall with Qin Kaching. P.S. It'll be available after midnight tomorrow. Please add it to your library. Please subscribe and support. Chapter 66, The Rotting Giant Crow, 4/4. Please add it to your library. Day 15. The monster invasion arrived right on schedule. After all, it was still the newbie trial, so the void was being relatively nice. A wave of monsters every day, without fail. The noise was building, and when Wu Qi got there, everyone was already in action. After 15 days, they didn't need Wu Qi telling them what to do. They knew how to defend themselves. Between the defense tower barrages, the great Qin warriors were moving in and out like clockwork. Their Qin swords were relentless. Halberd stabbed and slashed, taking down monsters left and right. Up on the stone wall, Lin Daiyu stood with her sword, seemingly holding down the fort. After all, nobody knew what kind of boss would show up. The bosses lately had been all over the place. There were weirdos like the three-headed Buddha, sneaky assassins like Shadow Bones, powerful mages, and monsters with annoyingly strong defenses. As the territory's strongest fighter, Lin Daiyu had to be ready to defend it, just in case the boss tried to sneak in and snatch something. Master, spotting Wu Qi, Sister Lin gave a small nod, her face serious. Wu Qi nodded back and glanced over at the Mingyue Palace girls. They looked a little nervous, their faces tight, but they were still working through their spells in good order. They were casting the seal of vitality on the great Qin warriors, while also firing off angry moon seals. With dual spell casting, they could pump out 2 seals at once. Pretty slick. The binding immortal seal wasn't really suited for combat. They're still green, but they're quick learners and will be excellent warriors soon. Seeing Wu Qi's expression, Lin Daiyu thought for a second and then said, but they'll never be able to match the great Qin elite troops. There's just no comparison when it comes to their combat skills. Wu Qi wasn't too worried about that. He was still happy with how the girls were doing. Besides, they're casting spells up on the stone wall and protected by the thundercloud stone wall, so they don't have to worry as much. True. Sister Lin agreed. The monsters invading this time were muddy, black things called swamp lurkers. Like always, there were regular grunts and elites. They were all level 12 to 15, so they were pretty tough. They swarmed in, maybe thousands of them, rushing toward the territory. Too bad, the territory wasn't a swamp. Without their home turf advantage, they seemed kinda lost and became easy targets. They might have been statistically stronger than yesterday's monsters, but they weren't putting up much of a fight. Boom. Boom. The defense towers kept blasting away, killing monsters left and right. The great Qin warriors and the Mingyue ladies were working together, slowly getting in sync. We got lucky today. Wu Qi grinned. Sister Lin didn't say anything, still watching carefully. With her insane stats, her senses were on point, and she could usually react quickly to danger. This went on for a while, the fight lasting until night. The swamp monsters kept coming in waves, hitting them every so often, like they didn't want anyone to get any rest. Luckily, Wu Qi's heroes and units had crazy high stats. They weren't afraid of getting tired, but just to be safe, Wu Qi took the initiative to bring moonlight elixir to the great Qin elites and the Mingyue Palace girls. The soldiers didn't waste any time, just started chugging. The girls thanked him sweetly, and the tension on their faces faded, replaced with relaxed smiles. 7 p.m. Another raid by hundreds of monsters ended. Looking at the messy battlefield outside the territory, that Wu Qi shook his head and refilled the ammo in each defense tower. Master. Time to eat. Qin Keqing came over with a lunchbox. Wu Qi nodded, took the box, and as he pulled out the food, asked, "Where are the others?" Sister Daiyu already brought theirs over. Qin Keqing smiled gently and said softly, "Master, are you training them?" "Yeah," Wu Qi nodded and chatted with her while he ate. "Seems like they don't need too much babysitting now." "Right, they're getting better really fast." Qin Keqing nodded and smiled, a hint of peace on her lovely face. He was only halfway through his food. Whoosh! Above the mist, an eagle suddenly shrieked. The harsh sound turned into sound waves that spread out, shocking everyone. Wu Qi quickly looked up and saw a massive bird appearing in the mist, its body rotting and black flames burning in its head. "Boss," Wu Qi quickly put on his lens of truth, and used the identification skill. Sure enough, this monster was the Day 15 boss, a level 15, rotting swamp crow. "This is the first time I've seen a bird boss," Wu Qi watched intently. The next second, the defense towers opened fire. Various control spells were launched, but the embarrassing thing was, only a few of the defense towers had control skills. The only one that did anything was the Stinky Fart Tower. The Earth Vine Tower, and stuff like that couldn't hit birds at all. The rotting swamp crow got a face full of terrible poison gas, screeched, and almost fell out of the sky. Chapter 67, Thunder. Answer my call. 1/4. Please add it to your library. Rotting Swamp Giant Crow, Race, Swamp Beast/Void, Level, 15, Talent. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bloodline, the boss's stats are partly visible, as usual, but taking on a level 15 boss. That's no joke. Especially in the newbie gauntlet, the rules of this void are crystal clear. Each day's monster will be tougher than the last. Wu Qi already dealt with Day 14's monster, today's will definitely be a bigger pain. But, what's wild is that even this crazy giant bird almost bit the dust against the waves of green stink. After flapping around like it was having a seizure, it finally managed to fly on. Pft. Pft. The humanoid statues are bent over, spraying poison like there's no tomorrow. Since their butts are aimed at the boss, the statues' faces are pointed right at the girls. Wu Qi was loving every second of it. The look on his face was priceless. The great Qin warriors kept a straight face. The girls were dying to laugh, but they were scared of getting yelled at by the immortal, so they just covered their mouths, faces turning bright red. Lin Daiyu and Qin Keqing were used to it, but they still pursed their lips, giving Wu Qi looks that were half smiling, half something else. Wu Qi. Too tired to even argue, whatever. Function over fashion. Who cares what it looks like? That he defended himself, then glanced at the sky. Right now, the giant rotting crow was covered in black flames, battling the stinky gas, and charging toward the territory like a bat out of hell. Whoosh! A gale roared in, kicking up a storm. Wu Qi raised his hand. Fire! The next second. Fireballs, lightning, machine gun fire, crossbow bolts. The defense towers opened up, blanketing the sky with firepower. The giant rotting crow didn't even try to dodge, flying straight into the kill zone. Its body was getting peppered, the rotting flesh was getting sliced open. But, it didn't seem to care, didn't even flinch. Boom! As the wind howled, the giant rotting crow spewed black flames, trying to burn everything to the ground. Just then, the same bird cry rang out, golden light erupting. A giant flaming bird soared up and slammed into the giant crow head-on. Behind it, the great Qin warriors readied their Qin crossbows and fired in unison. Thwack! 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 Arrows rained down. The girls were laser-focused, weaving hand seals, and unleashing angry moon seals in sync, blasting the crow with twin beams of moonlight. For a moment, the sky was a mess of attacks, a truly terrifying scene. Bang bang bang. Rat-tat-tat. Boom boom. Whoosh. A deafening cacophony filled the air. The light from the attacks turned night into day. after a minute, as the wind died down, fire, lightning, bullets, moonlight, vanished into thin air, the giant crow wobbled out, its grotesque body covered in cuts and burns, but it just shook it off. The rotting flesh didn't seem to suffer any real damage from the barrage. Swamp creature. Wu Qi murmured, deep in thought. Swamp creatures. He had looked up the intel on them. The heavens and the worlds were overflowing with countless races. People often referred to them collectively as the 10,000 races. The swamp tribe was one of the more common ones, alongside the undead, demons, monsters, spirits, and so on. These monsters lived in swamps and similar places. Their bodies were unique, they were often resistant to basic attacks. Dayu. Ka-ching. Let's tag team this. Wu Qi turned to the two heroes. Lin Dayu and Qin Ka-ching both nodded, their faces serious. In a flash, Lin Dayu leapt into the air, long sword in hand, but Qin Ka-ching took the lead, holding the Fengyue treasure mirror aloft. Lu Ding Liujia, you lay. Hear my command, she yelled, pointing her fingers at the giant crow in the sky. Instantly, crack. The sky exploded, a bolt of purple sky thunder materialized out of thin air and slammed into the giant crow. The thunder boomed, even though looting sky thunder wasn't as legendary as the tribulation lightning or divine thunder of myth. It was still way stronger than a normal lightning strike. The giant crow, which hadn't seemed to feel pain, shrieked as the electricity coursed through it, showing pain and rage. It opened its beak and spat black flames at the stone wall. Just then, the second thunderbolt hit. Crack. The third one. Crack. The fourth one. Crack. The sixth one. Crack. The lightning almost formed a sea of thunder. The purple sky thunder was sacred and imposing, carrying the power of exorcism and purification, and pierced the giant crow's body. The skill 6 thunder summoning was most devastating with its final strike, but it also sucked up a ton of mana. A normal immortal cultivator might pass out after casting it once. Luckily, Qin Ka-ching had a legendary talent, so she only looked a little pale. Then, holding the Fengyue treasure mirror, she kept casting spells. On the other side, Lin Dayu jumped into action, flicking her long sword and slicing the black fire to ribbons. Her graceful form sliced through the black fire, heading straight for the terrifying giant crow. P.S. It'll be available after midnight, and I'll be updating with 10,000 words in the future. Please support. Chapter 68 Hero Team Up, 2/4. Please collect. Dark, depressing world. The sky was draped in shadow and fog, but with all the skill attacks from the defense tower, the light enveloped the area, turning the territory as bright as day. And under the light, the hideous and disgusting body of the rotting giant crow was impossible to ignore. Mud, skeleton, rotten flesh and blood. It spread its wings and soared, its body, over 30 feet long, intimidating as hell. Lin Dayu didn't back down. Sword in hand, she leapt into the air to take down the giant crow. Seeing a human flying toward it, the rotting giant crow's eyes burned with rage. It had just been fried by lightning and was still hurting. Unlike normal thunder, it felt like its soul had been struck several times. Therefore. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Filled with rage and bloodlust at the sight of the approaching humans, the giant crow unleashed a deafening shriek. Scrn. Black fire surged around it, coalescing into two massive, 10-meter-long fire serpents that lunged at Lin Dayu. Her face remained impassive as she danced across the air on rapidly beating feathers. She was a blur of motion, dodging the fiery snakes with ease as she left behind a trail of blood, shredded flesh, and feathers. Lin Dayu paused, inhaling deeply, feeling a surge of power coursing through her veins. She could swallow the very sky. By holding Xiantian Qi in her mouth, she could inflict devastating wounds. Thwack! Suddenly, a blade flashed. Lin Dayu moved with blinding speed, faster than the crow could react, but the crow remained arrogant, a glimmer of disdain in its eyes. No human attack had been able to kill it. How could a mere sword slash? Scree! Pain! Excruciating pain! The crow shrieked, flapping backward in a panic, its eyes fixed on Lin Dayu with horror. She, however, had no way to stay in the air, and plummeted back down. She landed, then leapt up, trying to press her attack. This time, the crow had learned its lesson and quickly dodged away from Lin Daiyu. It spewed black flames, forming a giant net to block her path, and so began the fight between woman and crow, a ferocious clash of power. The giant, decaying crow possessed an unusual physique and seemed to have some sort of innate power. The defense tower's attack slammed into it, breaking bones and tearing flesh, yet the crow seemed unfazed. Its rotting body simply didn't care, but the skills of Lin Daiyu and Qin Keqing clearly frightened it. This was a boss that could only be hurt by special attacks. On the stone wall, the girls watched the battle with growing discouragement. They thought they could be helpful. But facing the boss, they realized they were virtually useless. When they first joined the fight, they dreamed of overwhelming their opponents and impressing the Immortals. But, things hadn't gone according to plan. The Qin warriors, however, remained steadfast, standing on the wall with unwavering resolve, ready to strike at any moment. Wu Qi simply observed, saying nothing. The power of the boss defied logic, especially in the endless void. Here, where all worlds converged, even if you had an immortal brother, the endless void could still toss you a demon boss to ruin your day. After watching for a while, Wu Qi realized that Lin Daiyu was holding her own, but would take forever to finish it off. Wu Qi glanced back at Qin Keqing, who knew exactly what he wanted. She held the Fengyue treasure mirror aloft and floated into the air. A gentle breeze lifted her hair, giving her an ethereal glow. The Fengyue treasure book opened to a page displaying the image of the rotting giant crow. Tip: your hero, Qin Keqing, has marked the target. During the marking duration, all your heroes will deal x 200% damage to the target. Then, Qin Keqing frowned slightly and spat. Whoosh! A blast of frosty air, condensed into a narrow stream of frost, shot out and struck the rotting giant crow. She raised her hand. Heavenly lightning. Hear my command, crack. Boom, thunder roared, and the crow's feathers bristled as it tried to escape, but as it turned, it saw that infuriating woman coming again. This time, something was different. Lin Daiyu, radiant in her attire, her long hair flowing, a biting coldness etched on her delicate face, she held her long sword, and a tangible aura flowed from her, coating the blade as if it were plated in platinum. Swallow, the very sky, graceful and deadly, she moved like a swimming dragon, unleashing 100-meter-long beam of sword light. One strike. That's all it took. Thwack! The sound of the sword echoed as the rotting giant crow split in two, the halves of its corpse plummeting from the sky. Just before the body hit the stone wall, it was pushed away by the wall's power. The blood rained down, painting the ground crimson. Lin Daiyu landed, her face pale, clutching her chest as she scanned the surroundings. Seeing no further movement, she turned to Wu Qi. P.S. It's coming after midnight. Please show your support. Chapter 69 Sword Qi Tower. Plenty of time. 3/4. Please collect it. The two heroes' teamwork was flawless. Wu Qi breathed a sigh of relief as he saw the rotting giant crow fall. He also received the notification. The battle is over. Commencing settlement, battle settlement, enemies, 4,320 swamp monsters, 1,720 elite swamp monsters. 1 rotten swamp crow, rating, SS level. Basic reward, 6,041 void origin stones. Extra rewards, SS level 10,000 void crystals, 10,000 void source stones, a pack of spiritual rice seeds, territory building, arrow tower, territory building, medical clinic, equipment, swamp touch. Today's monster invasion was over. Lin Daiyu returned, her clothes stained with blood. She was agile, and her slender figure shone in the blood, looking quite heroic. Sir, I have completed my mission. Lin Daiyu bowed and asked softly, is it over? Yes. Wu Qi nodded, and Lin Daiyu and Qin Keqing, who had just arrived, breathed a sigh of relief. It ended early today. The sisters can have a good rest. Qin Keqing spoke softly, a hint of joy on her pretty face. Wu Qi nodded and said, let's make some arrangements. First, collect all the killing treasure chests outside, then let everyone go wash up and eat. Yes. The two women smiled and turned to make the arrangements. Killing treasure chests littered the bloody landscape. the swamp monsters weren't actually weak. Wu Qi checked their stats and found that they were all over 100. But what could they do? Outside their swampy territory, they were sitting ducks, becoming easy targets. The Daqin warriors and the girls of Mingyue Palace also leapt down from the stone wall, collecting the treasure chests and returning them to the territory. With the small Xuanhuan realm, it didn't take much effort to store all the killing treasure chests in the space. A stream of light covered the entire territory, and it arrived in the blink of an eye. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No delays here. Wu Qi splashed some moonlight liquid on his face. The water, said to be blessed by moonlight, felt nice and cool against his skin. After his face was washed, he inventoried his rewards. SS-level rewards always meant a huge boost, and Wu Qi was ready to spend it. He had 2 new buildings for his territory. Wu Qi decided to start with the Arrow Tower. He tapped the plus icon, and the tower was enveloped in a multicolored light. In an instant, the light faded, revealing a tall defense tower. Perched atop the tower was a humanoid statue wearing Taoist robes, its face stern, almost a spitting image of Wu Qi. It gripped a long sword and glared forward, radiating killing intent. Sword Qi Tower, type, Defense Tower, level, 1, 0/200, function, releases sword energy, 1 inventory/use, attack range, 1000 meters, stock, 100/100. Flavor text, 1 sword cold light, 19 states. Awesome, another damage dealer. Wu Qi nodded and leveled up the Sword Qi Tower to level 5 in one go. Then, he turned his attention to the medical clinic, with several moon wells in the territory already providing healing, and the Hall of Valor, handling the serious cases. The demand wasn't too high right now, but a dedicated medical building was a must-have. Wu Qi opened the territory panel, considered the layout, and decided to place the medical clinic near the Mingjing Lake and the palace. Medical clinic, plus, same as before. He tapped the plus sign. A multicolored beam shot out and landed in the distance. He started walking, and as he passed Mingjing Lake, he noticed it was a lot livelier than usual. A group of beauties, tall and petite, were splashing around and having a blast, their laughter ringing out. Wu Qi stopped dead in his tracks, eyes wide. Some of the women noticed him and turned to look. Qi Nu was bold, staring right back at Wu Qi with a confident smirk, practically flaunting her figure. Her delicate face held a hint of playful challenge. The women from Mingyue Palace were more reserved. They squealed and ducked down into the water, only their heads visible as they peeked at Wu Qi with timid expressions. These women were like a field of colorful wildflowers, each one uniquely stunning. Wu Qi had always struggled to understand why charm couldn't be quantified. Now he got it. Beauty came in so many forms: tall, petite, curvy, slender. Each type possessed a distinct allure. How could you possibly reduce all of that to a simple number? My territory is a regular paradise. That Wu Qi's jaw dropped, his heart began to pound, and he took a step forward, but then he spotted blood-stained clothes on the shore. Suddenly, Wu Qi snapped out of it and regained his composure. Plenty of time for that. P.S. Please add this to your library. I'll be uploading more after midnight tonight. Thank you for your support. Chapter 70, The Baiyun Tower, and a Legendary Ring. 4/4. Please add it to your library. The days are long, and the nights are endless, and love is deep as time goes by. Wu Qi took a deep breath and chanted a few calming words, slowly extinguishing the fire within him. He reminded himself that he needed to stay focused during the newbie trial. After all, his heroic soldiers could fight for days without rest. I've finally got a few hours of downtime. I shouldn't bother them. Wu Qi smiled at the women, then turned and continued on his way. Your Majesty. Your Majesty, are you tired? Let me give you a shoulder rub. Sister Chen, don't push. Let me do it. My little fists are gentler. Humph. You're too inexperienced to please the king. Let me handle it. The voices faded behind him. Wu Qi began to wonder what life would be like after the newcomer trial ended. I'm such a tease. Wu Qi grinned and arrived at the medical clinic. The multicolored light had long since dissipated, and the medical clinic was now called Baiyun Tower. It was a tall, wooden structure, Baiyun Tower, type, medical clinic, level 1, 0/200, function, treats external injuries, internal injuries, and removes toxins, beds, 20. Stock, 100/100. Flavor text, Baiyun Secret Medicine is a world-renowned miracle cure. Pretty comprehensive, Wu Qi nodded in satisfaction. A standard, medical clinic, usually only handled external injuries, rarer ones could treat both external and internal injuries, but the Baiyun Tower could also remove toxins, making it even more exceptional. He looked inside. The Baiyun Tower was filled with the aroma of medicinal herbs. 20 bamboo beds were neatly arranged. There were no doctors or staff of any kind. The injured just needed to lie down on a bed, and they would receive treatment. Convenient. Wu Qi smiled, then his eyes narrowed as a thought crossed his mind. If that's the case, couldn't I just, ahem. Shaking his head, Wu Qi cleared his mind and pulled out the new equipment to take a look. As he expected, this was the golden level item that the boss had coughed up, Swamp Touch, type, equipment, quality, golden legend, level, 15. Attribute 1, Constitution plus 70, Spirit plus 70. Attribute 2, slightly increases shadow spell resistance. Attribute 3, Active Skill, Eye of Decay, 10/10. Attribute 4, Shadow Spell Energy Consumption minus 30%. Chapter 58. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Some people say an evil glare can rot you from the inside out. Nobody wants to catch that kind of heat. A level 15 gold ring would make any shadow priest go wild, but it's just not Wu Qi's style. He figured he'd give it to Lin Daiyu, even though it's more of a caster item. She's got the stats to handle it. After that, he grabbed some grub and took a shower. The Union guest house was hopping. The babes, fresh out of the shower, were gabbing about the recent fight, swapping stories, and catching up. The great Qin warriors hail from a fantasy version of Qin dynasty China. Qin Shi, who took the throne, wasn't a he, but a she, a woman of unmatched talent. She ruled the world, and her influence spread everywhere. Because she's a woman, she let women join the army, and every soldier had to train in breathing techniques, body conditioning, and military formation fighting. Then, the Qin army steamrolled eastward and unified the planet. Now, everyone's in training, and they're pushing hard on Mahist engineering, exploring the stars, and getting ready to conquer the universe. The Mingyue Palace Girls' World got a raw deal. It was a dying world. Girls were picked young to join the Mingyue Palace, learn Mingyue magic, and join the Immortal Cultivator army to fight off the apocalypse. But while they were still in training, the world-ending disaster struck. Mingyue Palace was wiped out, and most of them died. Only a few got away and are barely hanging on. Each of these women has a life, memories, and a personality. Wu Qi listened to them chat while he ate, and he was pretty amazed. The universe really has it all. So, Jing from that other world. I mean, she's conquering Earth and checking out the cosmos. What was that world-ending disaster? Their memories are so fuzzy. Did they just block it all out? Could it have been some messed-up evil god monster? After Chao Wu Qi showered, with the spring-fed waters of Mingjing Lake. He didn't have to worry about bathing in used girl bathwater. The lake was crystal clear as always, its surface like a mirror. With that sorted, the heroes and soldiers were taking some much-needed RR. Wu Qi tried summoning from the Red Mansion a few times, no dice, so he started upgrading the territory. Void Source Stone, 1000. Territory, level 5/6. 0/2000, territory size, 500,060,000 square meters, PS, dropping after midnight. 10,000 word update. Please subscribe. PS, some readers have said it's too hard to level up. How are other lords supposed to survive? The thing is, the main character's a big spender, so his buildings are top tier, pumping out legendary heroes and elite troops. That jacks up the upgrade cost. Regular lords are rolling with common and uncommon stuff, so their upgrades are cheaper. Plus, the newbie trials got special rules. You can rage quit if you can't hack it. Chapter 1, Fight War with War. Day 21. 1/10. Please subscribe. Leveling up to 6 added another 1,000 square meters. Wu Qi couldn't help wishing it had doubled, but he's not greedy. Time to rearrange the layout. First, the wall, the Thundercloud enchantment stone wall, was 50 by 100 units, he added 20 units, bumping it up to 60 x 100, then he tweaked the placement of the defense towers to maximize their coverage. Next up, Wu Qi checked out his remaining void source stones, time to upgrade the defense towers, one by one. Pyroblast Tower, level 5-6, void source stone, 2000. Stinky Fart Tower, level 5-6, void source stone, 2000. Judgment of Fire Tower, level 5-6, void source stone, 3000. Upgrading the defense towers one after the other. Soon, all 537 void source stones were gone. When they wake up, they can crack open those treasure chests and get another haul. That Wu Qi stretched and headed for the palace. He was beat. Leading a battle takes it out of you. Next day. The monsters showed up right on schedule, but the girls were ready for a fight. Wu Qi directed the battle while cracking open the kill treasure boxes. Once he had enough void source stones, he started upgrading the defense towers. That's how you fight war with war. Bit by bit, Wu Qi was getting stronger. Day after day, upgrade the defense towers, then the wall, then the altar barracks, then the hero units, and then the other buildings. Day 16, the invaders were blue-skinned barbarians, big, tough, and skilled killers, but up against the great Qin warriors they were scattered like sand, pushed back with ease. Then, the girls and defense towers teamed up to take them out. After 8 waves of monsters, the boss finally showed up, a barbarian shaman, a killer support caster. He summoned different totems to give the barbarians a huge combat boost. Too bad. The great Qin warriors and Mingyue Palace maidens were an elite force. They faced the enemy head-on, then they counterattacked, forcing the boss to summon divine power and turn into a 10-meter giant. Finally, the Mingyue Palace maidens nailed him with the binding immortal seal. The 2 heroes jumped on the chance and chopped off his head. Day 17. No rest for the weary. The monsters didn't come in waves, they just kept coming, 24/7, some kind of summoner was hiding in the fog, summoning worm monsters and flying insects. Finally, Qin Keqing used her skills to find those summoners. She wiped them out one by one. Problem solved. After all the bug summoners were gone, a golden giant insect appeared, hundreds of meters long in a heartbeat. It crushed a few great Qin warriors and almost got Qin Keqing. Luckily, Lin Daiyu was fast, she blasted it back with a single punch. This monster had crazy attack power and speed, but its armor and HP were trash. It started out fierce, but the binding immortal seal caught it by surprise, and the 2 heroes finished it with their ultimate moves. They swallowed the storm in one gulp and slashed it away. The 6-ding heavenly thunder was mighty and terrifying. Day 18. Tens of thousands of monsters in a single wave, attacking with the boss. The monster horde was zombies, and there were all kinds of mutant zombies mixed in, screamers, gasbags, exploders. The boss was a zombie mama who could spit corrosive venom that melted buildings. During the fight, the great Qin warriors advanced and retreated like clockwork, nobody hurt. The boss launched waves of suicide zombies, blowing chunks out of the wall. The wall was strong, but after enough suicide runs, even with the defense towers and girls picking them off, some were still getting through, tearing holes in the wall. The boss seized her chance, spitting out deadly venom, eating away at the wall. A few Mingyue Palace maidens who couldn't dodge were poisoned to death. Then, the girls channeled their rage and blew up the boss's bloated body. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Day 19. Luck's on my side today. The monsters are like fish men, numbering in the tens of thousands. They're good with ocean curses and water spells, and the boss is a seriously strong, 5 or 6 meter tall blue-scaled murloc. If we were in the ocean, they'd be the deadliest killers, no doubt, but lucky for us, we're on land. Wu Qi took care of them without breaking a sweat. Day 20. Another lucky day. This time, it was a group of human warriors with seriously pumped-up bloodlines. Their martial arts were top-notch. They could take down the Qin warriors one-on-one, easy. Too bad for them. Once we got our military formation going, they panicked and scattered, and we picked them off one by one. The boss was a beefy warrior with a sword. He swung 3 times and nearly sliced the whole area in half, but he must have been running on fumes, 'cause after the 3rd swing, he was toast. The girls took him down no problem. Day 21. Noon. After lunch, Wuqi leaned back in his chair, shamelessly checking out the 2 beauties beside him. These past couple of days have been chill, the monsters haven't been too tough to handle, so he and the girls have been able to kick back a little. Of course everyone else can chill, but Wuqi can't let his guard down. The territory's now level 8, the defense towers are all level 8, but the heroes and units are still only level 7. What can you do? Even though we're hauling in loot every day, tens of thousands of void crystals and void source stones, that we're burning through it all like crazy. Especially the void source stones, they disappear as soon as we get them. We can at least stockpile the void crystals for fights. Sir, don't get too comfortable, Sister Lin said after finishing her meal, dabbing her mouth with a silk scarf. She batted her pretty eyes at Wuqi. He grinned and said, I've got a good feeling about today. Maybe they'll all be pushovers, just lying down and waiting for us to take them out. Qin Kaching giggled, took a sip of her soup, and said softly, Sir, will it always be like this? Will life always be this stressful and depend entirely on luck? Nah, that's not how it is, Wuqi explained the newcomer trial and added, I'm a special case. I started out too strong, so I just keep getting stronger every day, and the enemies I face get crazier and crazier. That's just how the endless void rolls. After the newcomer trial, exploring the endless void is usually more normal. Hearing that, both women nodded. Okay, sir, I'm going to plant the spirit rice. Qin Kaching got up and got right to work. There are now 12 spirit fields in the territory, all upgraded to level 5 and planted with different crops, but after getting the spirit rice seeds, Wuqi planned to replace everything with spirit rice. After all, the seeds we planted before were just regular seeds from Earth, but the seeds we got from the endless void are something special. Once the spirit rice ripens, eating it can boost your strength and increase your chi and blood. In game terms, it's like getting experience points. Some low-level units might even jump from level 1 to level 2 just from eating a plate of spirit rice. If we get enough, it'll be a real game changer. Alright, go for it, Wuqi nodded and said with a smile, I'm going to ride this lucky streak and head to the Red Mansion to see if I can recruit a hero. And with that, he stood up. P.S. Please subscribe for support. Chapter 2 Gold. Gold. Legendary. February 10th. Please subscribe. Just then, a soft little hand grabbed Wuqi's arm. Sir, let me come with you. A gentle voice came. Wuqi turned around, and saw Lin Daiyu batting her pretty eyes at him, smiling sweetly. She was wearing a gorgeous, light blue, wide-sleeved dress. Her slender figure looked like a willow tree. A tiny waist you could wrap your hands around, and beneath her knee-length skirt, her straight, long legs were pressed together slightly. Her skin was as white as jade, and she was wearing a pair of cotton boots, which made her look even more delicate and cute. Every day, she finds a way to look more beautiful. She really is the most precious jewel in the world, and to be honest, Wuqi was the one who gave her this blessing. In her past life, she was beautiful, but she was just a regular mortal, frail and always sick, like a flower that was about to wilt. She couldn't truly shine, but after arriving with Wuqi, she awakened her natural bloodline, and became extraordinary overnight. Now she's even become our strongest fighter. She's practically the perfect woman. Why practically? Because. Easy there, hahaha, Wuqi couldn't help but laugh. Lin Daiyu, 09. The two arrived at the Red Mansion, Wuqi rubbed his nose, which still stung a bit. Daiyu, you're too rough, he couldn't help but complain. Sister Lin rolled her eyes and said playfully, I didn't even use any force. What happens if you do use force? Wuqi's face twitched and he teased, if you use too much force, you'll be killing your husband. Her husband, not just some lord or young master. His words had a double meaning. Lin Daiyu was quick on the uptake and immediately understood what Wuqi meant. Her face flushed. We're here at the Red Mansion, let's go in, she said, and hurried inside. Hee hee, Wu Qi smiled and followed. The red mansion, has been upgraded to level 7. The inside is still stylishly decorated. The ancient lamps are lit and the atmosphere is peaceful. Lin Daiyu leaned against the wall. She still hadn't spoken because of what Wu Qi had just said, but her beautiful face was a little red, her eyes were misty, and she kept looking at Wu Qi. She looked shy and charming, which was definitely starting to get to Wu Qi. Just 9 more days. Wu Qi could only take a deep breath and calm himself down, then he opened the summoning panel. First, a 10-shot summon to take the edge off. Hint, you got a pack of sanitary napkins. Hint, you got a box of rouge. Hint, you got a red pen. Hint. Just as he expected, the 10-shot pull was a bust. Chapter 60. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Wu Qi took a breath and switched to advanced summoning, then went for 10 more pulls. Ding! You got the Feng Yulio fairy skirt, women's clothing. Ding! You got the iron shoes, equipment. Ding! Ding! You got the hero, Jia Yingchun. Ding! You got the hero, Qin Keqing. The ink painting swirled wildly, 3 lights spinning non-stop. Wu Qi barely glanced at them. Suddenly, 2 blinding golden lights flashed, nearly knocking him off his feet. Holy crap! Double golden legendary. Wu Qi's eyes bugged out. He rubbed them, then checked again. It was real. What are the odds? My time has finally come. Scratch that last part. The scroll vanished in a flash. Mysterious sounds, like faint weeping, echoed in the air. A wolf in the mountains, once successful, knows no bounds. The golden boudoir's beauty will last for years. As the sounds faded, a woman appeared. She sat quietly on a stool, wearing a long red dress. Her beautiful face was delicate and a little lost. Her hair was in an upturned bun with 2 jade hairpins. 2 sweet osmanthus blossoms adorned her hair, strands framing her face, dancing near her earlobes in the breeze. Her long hair fell down her back, slightly disheveled. Her beautiful face was etched with confusion, and tear tracks ran down her fair cheeks. Welcome spring. Lin Daiyu hesitated, then stopped. Jia Yingchun snapped out of it and began processing the information flooding her mind. After a moment, she looked around in surprise, then at Wu Qi. Master. Her voice was soft, slightly hoarse, as if she'd been crying. No need to be formal, Yingchun. Welcome to the team. Wu Qi smiled. You should have the basic info by now, so I won't bore you. You and Daiyu can catch up. Daiyu, lazy girl. Jia Yingchun perked up. She turned and saw Lin Daiyu smiling at her. Yingchun. When did you get here? Lin Daiyu took Jia Yingchun's hand. Seeing a familiar face, Jia Yingchun visibly relaxed. She said softly, my father wanted to marry me off to Sun Xiaozu. I knew he just wanted to weasel his way out of paying his debts, and I knew Sun Xiaozu was bad news. I was in my room, just bawling. So that's the timeline. Lin Daiyu smiled gently and patted her hand. Don't worry. As long as my master is here, nobody will mess with you. Master. The newly summoned beauty glanced shyly at Wu Qi. Her cheeks flushed, her mind was a whirlwind, suddenly transported to another world. With a completely new identity, she was understandably overwhelmed. Thank goodness Lin is here. I don't need to freak out. I'm not sure whether to laugh or cry. Escaping the nightmare of the Jia mansion is a good thing, but if this young master is a jerk, I don't know what I'll do. Wu Qi watched the 2 beauties chat, while checking out the notifications. 2 golds at once. One was the new hero, Jia Yingchun, the other was, Qin Keqing. Since Qin Keqing was already recruited, he got a portrait of destiny instead. Like Lin Daiyu's, it was a painting, showing Qin Keqing playing the piano in an attic. Qin Keqing's fate turns. Type, portrait of destiny. Quality, golden legend. Function, use on the hero, Qin Keqing, to improve her quality, increase base stats and stat growth, and enhance her talent bloodline. Flavor text, since you already have the hero Qin Keqing, you get her exclusive destiny portrait this time. Jackpot, Wu Qi grinned. The Red Mansion, summons are different, they can drop Golden Legend heroes right off the bat, it's not guaranteed, but it's possible. So, scoring double gold this time was ridiculously lucky. Lately, Wu Qi had been trying to summon every day, burning through around 2,000 void crystals. Finally, today, he pulled a hero. And two at once. He let out a long breath, feeling like every crystal he'd spent had been worth it. Ordinary summons. What do they get you? Common summons might yield a militia captain, spearman captain, kobold warrior, etc. High-level summons might bring a Tauren warrior, low-level warrior, or low-level mage. They're okay for combat, but don't expect too much. After all, if the ordinary altar coughs up a rare hero, you should count your blessings. Want higher quality? Dream on. Show me Kangkong's new hero's stats. Wu Qi chuckled and opened the attribute panel of Jia Chun, Chapter 3 Walking Buff. March 10th. Please subscribe. Jia Chun, Identity, Hero, Race, Human, Quality, Golden Legend, Level, 1, 0/200, Bloodline, Mountain Jade Cinnamon, +1, Talent, Good Fortune After Misfortune, +1, Bond, 12 Beauties of Jinling. Constitution, 30, Base Stat 1, 1000% Multiplier, Bond Bonus, 20, Spirit, 170, Base Stat 15, 1000% Multiplier, Bond Bonus, 20, Introduction. Fortune and misfortune are two sides of the same coin. Good fortune comes after misfortune. A fate that should have been tragic was reversed, awakening an extremely mysterious power. Mountain Jade Cinnamon +1. Bloodline Quality, Golden Legend, Attribute 1, cannot use attack abilities. Attribute 2, when the hero is alive, the skill level of all residents in the territory is +2, Introduction, born by Cinnamon, the world exists. Good times come after bad times +1. Talent Quality, Golden Legend, Attribute 1, Luck +10, Introduction, Fate reversed, her future has changed dramatically, compared to the first two heroes. Jia Chun's stats were a bit lower, and she didn't seem very powerful, but when Wu Qi saw her talent bloodline, his jaw dropped.